Would you rather have wireless on the most reliable network nationwide or unlimited with 5G for $30 a month per line? You don't have to choose with Xfinity Mobile. Wireless so good it keeps one-upping itself. Most reliable based on Roots Metric US report. Results vary, not an endorsement. $30 per month per line when you get 4 lines.
Hi there, I am Adam Kirbas, and this is another episode of my podcast. My work as an author, you know, it's some sort of got more elaborate or more integrate, so I do not speak only about my work, but in a broader context. And we are continuing our inquiry into rationality, which we some sort of, I would say, came far today, and it will depend how far we get. We will talk about literature, especially one book which I want to talk about. This is Lord of the Flies by William Golding. I know, of course, this is indeed a very crucial and important book in the English language, I would assume, but please keep in mind that I'm a German native speaker, so Lord of the Flies is nothing you actually talk about in literature courses in Germany, of course, as well as in Austria. You talk mainly about Austrian about Austrian writers, Austrian authors, so it does not occur. However, I think that the novel Lord of the Flies is indeed a very important novel in terms of rationality, and it will some sort of, I would assume, help us to understand the more important criteria of rationality. Of course, I will some sort of offer an interpretation for my perspective, which I think in a way is, or you could interpret the novel in that way, but you do not have to take my word for it. There is actually a very good site you will find in the internet. This is sparknotes.com. There you can find a different interpretation of the novel there, and you will find many more. I would warmly suggest that you watch out for this site. It is sparknotes.com. I think they even have an app. Well, I did not download the app. However, it is, as the last time I watched it, is free. You have free access. A lot of course, mainly to English literature. I mean, the English literature has a very depth, so that is quite good for analysis, and I have consulted the site for this book as well. So in some interpretations I would agree with this site, and in other I would not. Again, I will, but however, our main focus is indeed that we analyze rationality. I will try to share my thoughts. So this is, I would rather say, primary, and then of course how I interpretation of the novel from my perspective is important as well. I mean, I would assume. However, but again, don't just attack me for it. You can. This is, I think, one of the great stuff you have in the intellectual sphere, that there are many views, many opinions, and this is a good thing. So that we will not just let one view count. However, I will some sort of sum up the novel in the beginning. I don't know how many of you know this, yet I do know that Lord of the Flies is indeed very well known in the English sphere, but there may be some speakers or non-native English speakers who might not know the novel, I would warmly suggest that you some sort of read the novel. Quite interesting. However, but in advance, I have to say that I don't want to go too much into detail like I did before. For example, I would not try to apply those three forms of rationality we so far detected, because those three forms of rationality in a way apply to sociology. We some sort of try to determine politics as well, but I think it's not smart, it's not good if we would in a way apply these three forms on literature, rather that we talk in literature in a broader terms about rationality. So especially firstly, that it is fiction. This is something we must not swipe aside. Fiction, this is one thing. There would be of course an exception for fiction if it is deliberately some sort of plan to portray social circumstances, like I would say George Orwell's Animal Farm. This is something different, where you some sort of would analyze sociological implications, because George Orwell intended his novel to be seen that way. However, but in a lot of the flights, we have to be very cautiously. So it is a novel about civilization, the approach of civilizations. It is a novel about many things, or you could interpret a lot of things into the novel, but of course you have to be very cautious with it. However, the novel starts with there are some schoolboys on an airplane, so this is common, we would assume. And on this airplane, they are heading somewhere, and then the airplane is shot down. There is war going on, so this novel plays in the 1950s, or this fiction plays there. So this airplane is shot down, and those boys, some sort of survive. They're all boys, they survive, and they end up on an island, on an deserted island, which is surrounded by blue endless water, and they are some sort of stranded there. So the typical Robinson Crusoe stuff you have, or the reality shows we have been watching and exposed to. So this is pretty much happening there already in the 1950s. However, this novel we have to, and there through their time on the island, those boy groups some sort of develop certain approaches to civilization, or how to handle some issues like survival, issues like how can we ensure that we are being saved, how just to get on with each other. This is some sort of social, of course, despite the fact that we will some sort of refrain ourselves from really applying a full sociological investigation. However, this is happening. We will, and so on and so forth. Or I will have to be a little bit cautious. However, our approach will be some sort of rational and about political as well as about anthropology. We will some sort of talk about this. However, the main theme of the novel is some sort of the different approach. Firstly, to survival. I would assume this is survival. The second thing is about government, which leadership suits best to circumstances. We will talk about this issue, and I think this is very important as well. You could either see this, which it is partially interpreted as a conflict between civilization or savagery, about the decay, debauchery, whatever you have. This is one interpretation, or you just can see this in a way neutral, impartial, and then see it as what it is, that people adopt to certain circumstances, that people adopt to a life, and this adoption comes with sociological and anthropological differences, how people adapt to certain circumstances, or if you want to say Darwinism in a way or another. So it is in a way your adoption to your new circumstances, to your new world, is in a way neutral, is in a way some sort of not per se savagery, but really some sort of to survive in that sense. And I think this is pretty much the main theme of this novel, not the decay of civilization, but the transformation of civilization due to the conditions found in your environment. So the key message of this novel, I would suggest or say, is that your environment or your resources determine which political government you choose, which leadership you choose, and so on and so forth. So this plays a crucial part. So it is not per se only all about savagery, and I will try to argue in that sense. However, in the beginning we will some sort of for those who have not read the novel, some sort of give a general understanding. There is some sort of this conflict between the old world. I called it the old world. The old world is in a way the democratic civilization we assumed, so that in this democratic civilization there are free elections. There are leaders who are not chosen because they are strong or the strongest, but leaders who are rather chosen because they are capable. They are pragmatic. They know what to do. This is in the novel personated in the boy Ralph. Ralph is in one hand not the strongest, and in the other hand he's not if you want, a smart ass like Piggy, who is some sort of the nerd in that class, but Ralph is in a way some sort of the guy from the old world who represents democratic values, and this is that he is an elected leader, that he has a lot of approval among his peers because he is in a way because he some sort of represents values of the old world. I mean, old world of course, old world in that sense that when those children arrive at the island, there's something new is starting. Of course, we would then assume, no, this is the civilization, that the democracy is the highest form of civilization we have accomplished. So this would be new in any matter. Yes, true, but in our novel, it is indeed the old world. So this what people brought with them, and the new conditions which demand then a different form of leadership. This is then epitomized by Jack, who is the strongest, who is a hunter, who then some sort of can garner a lot of support. His leadership style, this one man, later he becomes a king or some sort of a king, and then a despot. This is some sort of a way or people adapt to these new conditions on the islands, and these two forms of leadership. In one hand you have democracy, and in the other hand you would actually say some sort of monarchy slash despoty. This is some sort of these conflicts on this island. So and these conflicts or this is the main conflict where everything turns around, and the gradual transformation of the society from a democratic-based society to a monarchy or to a despoty, how you want it to see it. And this gradual development we will some sort of assume in a way rational. So this is not a deterioration. Again, I will repeat myself again. This is not a deterioration. People do not debauch or some sort of fall into debauchery, but this is an adaptation to your structure. And the main issue as well is to survival. So, and this being able to survive structures the society along the way. However, in the beginning of the novel, the children have made up their mind that they want to survive. So the first thing they do is the division of labor. Division of labor, we would immediately, those who know Adam Smith, struck as rational. This is smart, so we do not go all and do the same. So these people, some sort of in a way, replicate what they saw previously in their life. So those boys are all from England, and in England they have a democracy at that time. They had one, and it is pretty much conveyed to the boys that they, in the beginning, they do not know anything else than what they have learned from their home country. So this is a democratic society where they elect their leaders, and in division of labor, this is one part of the, if you want, of the old world, and they then replicate it. So Ralph, this man, we would call him a pragmaticist who epitomizes the politician of the old world, so the one who knows what to do. He's some sort of elected leader, and he then decides in a way that they should divide labor, and this is rational. I mean, I want to talk a little bit about Adam Smith, what he said about in that sense in Wealth of Nation, about that if everyone some sort of firstly would pursue his own gain, in a way his egoistic gain, this would then lead to a better off of the entire society. Adam Smith meant it in a way for in economic terms, so that if everyone specializes itself, or if everyone some sort of becomes a professional in what he's doing, not only or does not lose time in doing many things at once. Let's say if you're a carpenter, you some sort of focus your energy on being a good carpenter instead of being, I don't know, a shoemaker, or I don't know, a painter, and so on and so forth. So this specification, so that you some sort of specify your craft or focus on the craft, which makes you a better carpenter. Your quality, or the products you produce, their quality increases, and there then the overall society is better off. And if everyone does this, then the entire society is better off, because everyone gets highly specialized, gets a master in their craft. So you have higher quality, you have people who know their profession, and so on and so forth. So this is one explanation why division of labor is good. The second explanation Smith gives, that if you have some sort of a task, if you want, you have a working task. This is some sort of an assembly line. I worked in an assembly line, and Smith then suggests if you break down one task into very small pieces, and so get people to work on these small tasks. They will get very professional, as well as they act in that sense rational. I mean, you are in a way forced rational, because if you are if you some sort of only or if you cook in a broader sense, then you can only work or turn around in one way, and this means that you have to be a part of a whole and of a whole company, of a whole enterprise. So in a way, you are forced to act rationality, because if you cook and if you do not, you will not accomplish anything on your own. So you need in a way others, and so this individualism, this division of labor, firstly leads to that people get all professionals in their craft or master their craft, and the second thing, they cannot do anything but act rational, because the overall society needs to be working together. Imagine everyone is a cook, and they have to some sort of turn in unison to get this engine going. So this is what, in very simple terms, division of labor is, and this is pretty much happening on the island as well. So the boys who are from England separate between those who should build huts and those who should go and on a hunt, so that they separate each other, or our groups separate each other, and then they become some sort of professionals in their craft. So especially with the hunters and the gatherers, they then more and more increasingly become better at hunting. In the beginning, when Jack and his companions meet their first pig in the jungle, they try to kill it, but they do not succeed, because everything is still new. And of course, we have to be aware that they have not transformed yet. This is very important in the novel. In the beginning, they do not succeed in killing the pig, because they still think in the terms of the old world, and with their civilized, well, I would say with their civilizational demand. It is not common for young boys at that time in England to hunt on an island after their meat, and so on and so forth. So everything is new. They have not transformed yet, or they have not adopted yet to these new circumstances. So they fail. So far we have worked out one part of rationality, and this is that the division of labor. This is rational in that sense. This is what we know. Everyone does what he does the best, and he becomes a professional. Let me talk a little bit of the symbolism of this novel, which are indeed very important. In the beginning, the boys find a conch shell, or I don't know how to pronounce it, but they find a conch shell. This is some sort of a horn which some sort of gathers people to a meeting. This is assumably, I don't know, maybe this has been done in Great Britain with the bang, or where a speaker announces a meeting. I don't know. You could some sort of see this conch shell, some sort of a speaker who announces that there is a meeting, and everyone who holds the conch shell is allowed to speak freely. No one interrupts him, and this is again some sort of a symbol of the old world, in that sense of the democracy in the old world, that everyone is able to participate. There's not one leader who dictates what has been done, but some sort of one leader who ensures that everyone can participate. This is Ralph. Ralph, some sort of, is the one who always calls the meetings, like, I don't know, like a Speaker of the House in Great Britain, and he then ensures everyone is being heard. I mean, again, Ralph was elected because he's very popular among the boys and he's a pragmaticist. The boys then decide to make a signal fire because their purpose is to being rescued. They agree they have to make themselves known, that the outside world would come after them. We know this again from all those Robinson Crusoe or from all those TV shows. Well, I have not seen a lot. I mean, there's one very famous TV show, Lost. I'm sorry, I have not seen that. I always try to watch that, but it is some sort of slipped out of my mind. However, but one key important issue we see in the novel, and this is that the signal fire, some sort of, firstly becomes again some sort of part of the hope. It is hope that you are being rescued, and it is in a way as well as rational. Rational in that sense that you keep this signal fire going, that you some sort of say to the outside or make yourself known to the outside world that you are there, that you are alive, and this signal fire structures the society of these boys, because this signal fire gives the community a purpose to stick together, and the key important thing of the signal fire is actually hope. So it is rational to First, it is rational, as we said before, that you some sort of maintain your life, that you survive. This is in our island example. We have seen the same. You have to protect your life. You have to ensure your survival. And here it is the group. This is again why we some sort of made some differences in our community. This is indeed different, and this rational thing to do is some sort of, or the goal is to make a signal fire, but it is some sort of built on hope. And they make this signal fire and they structure the society according to what they know is actually hope. And this is not that they do not know whether they will ever be rescued. They don't know they could stuck there forever, but they hope for it. And this hope is, I think, a key important issue of rationality as well, in that sense that you might not know the outcome of any action. You do not know it for sure, but you hope in a way that it might turn out. And with using those old structures, this is again that we have to say or add to that, is that rationality has as well as some sort of a history. You know, you apply something from your knowledge, you apply something you have seen before. You have, for example, in our democratic society, you have experienced that this democratic society accomplishes something, or you just simply do not know any other term for it. So you have an experience with it. You know what works and what not, and therefore you apply these known patterns to this new world. So, and this is again rational. You apply something you know. So it would be not likely that if you strand on an island, that you start experimenting with social or with new leadership roles. No, you apply something you already know, that you already have been acquainted to, and this is what pretty much is happening. So with the conch shell, later with the signal fire. So you know, this is again something we have to you have to deduct from your knowledge that a signal fire will tell the outside world that you are there. So your experience plays a crucial part in how or what you do, how you act, and so on and so forth. This is, I think, very important. And on this island, this development, this separation of tasks, as well as on the separation of leadership, sooner or later leads to conflict. This is one issue, one big issue. The conflict is then epitomized between Ralph and Jack, as we said before, because the new world some sort of puts a lot of new challenges on you, challenges which demand again your adaptation, and the hunters and gatherers in a way try to adapt to this new world, whereas Ralph and his companions some sort of try to maintain the structures which they have known from the old world. And some sort of, they build huts on the beach, which is one would assume not very smart, however, but not everyone really takes on it, and so on. So then you could say the two leaderships between Jack and Ralph is that Ralph, the one who is some sort of still clings on to the old world, thinks rather in short terms, because he still thinks that the main goal and objective of the group should be to be rescued. You cannot survive on this island. Later on, they stand on the mountain of the island, see the vast blue water. You can call it a blue desert. However, then they some sort of lose faith. However, Jack and his Ralph and his disciples assume that the rescue is nigh, and according to that, they only have to hold on. Whereas Jack, now I some sort of misspoke. However, Ralph and his disciples some sort of think in short terms. This is important, and Jack and his disciples then try to adopt themselves to those new conditions, and this is some sort of epitomized then with hunters and gatherers' life. And this is especially with the camouflage. So in the beginning, or at the first time when Jack tried to some sort of kill a pig, he was not ready to do it because he was still some sort of a disciple of the old world. He had not adopted. Then later on, some sort of, he puts paint on his face. This is very important. This paint, this transformation. This is what you have in Apocalypse Now as well. So they put paint on their faces. They transform. They adopt to those new conditions, and then they became some sort of hunters and gatherers, and then they succeed in that sense. They kill the pig. This is a huge success, and with this success or of this adaptation of this in this new society, with this success comes then some sort of a praise of this new, I would say, new profession, hunter and gatherer, because the hunters and gatherers, they are the ones who can get things done. They manage to survive. They some sort of brought meat on the table, while those people who somehow cling on to the old world, they tried to make huts on the beach, but this was not very successful, and so on and so forth. So this new world, or this new adaptation, has proven itself, and now hunting becomes some sort of very precious, because it firstly ensures survival of everyone they have meet, and of course, with hunting comes some sort of a new, you would say, habit or civilizatoric, or a new form of civilization. Those children, for example, dance around the fire. They reenact the killing of the pig, which is very important in human civilization, because, which we know of since the early cave paintings. So in the early human cave paintings, you see a lot of animals always portrayed, because animals are very important. They ensure survival. A lot of mammoths and so on. You can even some sort of declare them to holy, which actually happens on the island as well later with this pig head. However, this civilization some sort of has a new angle, and this angle becomes survival, because some sort of out of a rational need to survive, there's some sort of enacted or some sort of succeeded with a new profession, hunter and gatherer, if you want. This profession has no place in this old society, in this old democratic society, because those boys, assumably, they are well off, and these hunters or this new profession of hunter and gatherer, this transforms a society, and everything becomes important, or not everything, but hunters become more important. They become central in the society, which then later on leads to Jack becoming a monarch and then this pot. So this is very important. So hunting and gathering, and this is some sort of a lot of, and the religion of the group, some sort of circles around this sphere. This is what we later see with the pig head. There's some sort of chop off the head of a pig, and put it on a stick, and this stick this is the new god. This is the pig is in one sense eaten. He's the means for survival, but he's as well as revered as a god, as nourishment and so on. So this is very common in human history, in human evolution, that those animals, again, you see this a lot in cave paintings with all those humans, with all those pictures of hunting animals and human beings, who some sort of revered them or half gods and so on and so forth. So animals play a crucial part. You see this as well as in the Greek mythology, in the Greek mythology, where you have always some sort of mixture between humans and animals, and they some sort of succeeded in mixing the best elements together, like, I don't know, Poseidon and all other things and so on and so forth. So this plays a crucial part here as well. So hunting became some sort of a new religious, mystical profession, which derives from the need to survival. This is the key message here. This is not about savagery that people some sort of divulge into savage tomb, according to my opinion. No, this is rather that the rational need for survival meets his circumstances. What is possible? What are we able to do? And from there on, then things develop. From there on, society develops. And this is again epitomized by an incident. This new transformation of the society of the boys is then epitomized by an incident, because the hunters are actually the ones who should take care of the signal fire, so that it is always burning. But then once a ship passes the island, and Ralph and Piggy, to their horror, notice that the signal fire is not burning, so they some sort of have passed the opportunity to be saved. So from this old world, so the old world in that sense passed by, and it was not noticed by anyone on the island, because they have already started this transformation, this adoption, this new conditions, and further, and this transformation is then further increased when Ralph, who is some sort of still the leader or the authority of the old world, blows the horn, blows this conch shell, and everyone gathers around, but some sort of he has already lost in a way. He has lost in a way his leadership to Jack, because Jack some sort of, everyone looks up on Jack because he made it work. He some sort of supplied everyone with food. He could guarantee everyone with food, whereas Ralph, the one from the old world, always talked about being rescued, and they should just hold on, but this does not work, or this did not work. The system, the old democratic system of the old world was not applicable to this new circumstances. So Jack gains more favor. Jack, the one with the strongest guy, the one who some sort of knows how to hunt, and gains more favor. This is some sort of the end of the old civilization. Then a key component in the novel is as well as the beast. This is what the little ones that are not only that are younger and older boys, there is a beast. At least they assume there is a beast, and they are really scared of it. Everyone assumes they have seen it. Later on, they will some sort of will it become more money fest, but there's a fear of everyone, and everyone seems to be gripped by this fear that there's a beast, and some may have seen it, some may not. However, there's a beast, and this fear you could either identify this fear with a lot of things. I identify this fear with that the fear of something new. Because every new circumstances, this is what you saw in the beginning of the novel, the hunters tried to kill a pig, but they did not know how. So the survival is always, or their survival is always at stake. But now, and this leads, of course, to fear of the new, because some of these children or these boys, they are happily playing on the beach. They do not help with building huts. They still think this is on vacation and so on, and they will be shortly rescued. And this fear, in a way, still plays a crucial part, because the boys who play or still some sort of cling on to the old world, they are some sort of at the beach. This is very important because it is symbolic. They are outside the island, or they're still on the shore of the island with the connection to the old world, whereas the hunters and gatherers who go into this, in the jungle, in there where the new world actually is, where you have to transform, where you have to put a paint on your face that people might not recognize you anymore, so that you transform, and this of course leads to fear. And those who fear the beast, they mostly stay on the beach. They fear the new one. They fear this adaptation, this fear of some sort of letting go of the world of yesterday, like this ship who passed by, the hunters who are in the jungle. They do not bother about the signal fire anymore, but only those who are on the beach, who are trying to build huts and not in the jungle, and so on and so forth. So this is a crucial part, and we will continue talking about this tomorrow. So especially about the symbolism. I think another issue is the pig head, and of course the glasses of Piggy. See you tomorrow. This was Adam Kibos from Urdu on this cloudy and dark November day. We are still in the pandemic. Please take.
It's finally time to start firing up the grill. From city to shore, Acme is everything you need to prep for this summer season. Download the Acme app to shop for this season's essentials any way you want. Open the Acme app, clip your deals, then order your items online. An experienced Acme associate will carefully select your groceries, bag your order, and bring it right to your car or deliver right to your door. Download the app or visit acmemarkets.com for program details.